Prime Minister says US decision won't affect PNG. Foreign Affairs Minister says Manus Center not in a mess. And academic doctors on strike over unpaid salaries.
This is National MTV News with Helen Sayer.
Good evening and thank you for joining me for Tuesday's news. Prime Minister Peter O'Neill has assured that US President Donald Trump's decision to cancel the Trans-Pacific Trade Agreement will have no impact on PNG because we are not a signatory of the agreement. He added that it would neither affect US participation in the APEC Summit 2018 should Donald Trump accept the state's invitation.
With our major trading partners.
Prime Minister O'Neill today stressed that the TPP agreement should not be an issue at all because it was not an APEC agreement.
Of course, there are some members of APEC who participate in that partnership arrangement for trade between their countries, but it is not exclusive to APEC countries at all. Mr. Speaker, there are countries in the APEC like Papua New Guinea and China, for instance, the second biggest economy in the world, are not signatories to the arrangements that were made by United States, Australia, New Zealand, Japan and all the traditional partners.
He added, however, it would not affect any other trade agreements and highlighted that PNG needs the investments these agreements attract to support the country's development.
Billion kina may sound as if it's big money, but in terms of trying to develop a challenging country like Papua New Guinea, it is not enough. And it is important that we have a better trade arrangements with countries that are willing to invest in our country and making sure that they create jobs for our people. And that is the only way, Mr. Speaker, that we can be able to, of course, develop our country.
Melissa Gaviro, National MTV News.
Still on Parliament, Enga Governor Sir Peter Ipatas asked Treasury Minister Patrick Puraj about updates on the construction of the Enga Provincial Hospital. Mr. Puraj thanked Sir Peter for accompanying himself and the Prime Minister to China to negotiate a loan from the Exim Development Bank. While responding to the Enga Governor's question, the Treasurer was also asked supplementary questions about updates of the Boram Hospital in East Sepik and the Engau Hospital in Morobe Province.
And I'm happy to inform the Governor and people of Enga that the loan from Action Development Bank has been approved on the 16th of December last year. Once the loan agreement is signed, then we will inform the Governor for the drawdown to take place, and the implementation of that hospital should happen in the first quarter of this year. But I'm glad to also inform the good Governor of East Sepik that National Government in its wisdom has approved a loan of 320 million for Wewak Boram Hospital with the European Union, and we will, once we commence the loan negotiation and when the loan is agreed to, we will inform the Governor so implementation of that hospital can come into fruition. Anga Hospital, I'm Tumuna story. I think first of all we need to get our act together. Provincial government, we must support the national government. And as we know, our national government is working with the Australian government to deliver 400 million Australian dollars of the hospital at Angau. And I'm appealing to leaders of Morobe to work closely with national government for us to ensure that that building, the hospital, is built on time for our people in Morobe province. But of course, it's not Morobe people only that will benefit from that hospital. It's more central, and I think it will attract a lot of people from the country.
Foreign Affairs Minister Rimbing Pato responded to a lengthy inquiry into the state of the Manus Processing Centre by a member for Rabaul, Dr. Alan Marat, saying simply that the processing centre was not a mess. He assured that the state was working closely with the Australian government and the UN to finalise repatriation arrangements.
Dr. Marat fired a dozen questions at Pato regarding the legality of the detention centre's operation in the light of an alleged rape that occurred last year. When accused of direct contempt of court in letting it operate, this was what Minister Pato had to say.
Left the facility and are freely moving on and about on Manus Island. This is not our intention, but we are a law-abiding country. We work within the framework of our constitution and the international frameworks which are administered by the UN. And there is a ruling of the Supreme Court on this issue which required that we must allow the refugees the freedom.
He assured that the situation was in the hands of competent people with the support of Australia and the UN International Organization for Migration.
To the UN, our own conditions under the agreement with the Australian government, but I will make a detailed statement on this so that the whole of the Parliament is fully informed of an answer to each of those questions, and of course our people have the right to know what is happening.
Melissa Goviro, National MTV News.
Instruments for an independent commission to progress the referendum on the autonomous region of Bougainville was signed today. The Bougainville Referendum Commission will need to be staffed with a functioning board in place before it can be fully operational.
The instruments signed today were the agreement between the two governments for the establishment of the Bougainville Referendum Commission and the arrangement that this will function under. This was signed by the two chief secretaries and the two electoral commissioners. The establishment of the new commission is seen as a key development towards conducting the referendum.
They will oversee the implementation of the conduct of the 11 referendum activities to the deadline. They will also set the actual time and date of the conduct of the referendum. They will also have the role and responsibility in determining the key questions to the eligible voters who will vote in the referendum.
Chief Secretary Isaac Lupari reiterated that weapons disposal remains a key factor in ensuring the referendum is conducted.
By both sides, with the support of the development partner, with the support of our leaders. And I think we know exactly the deadline as stipulated in the peace agreement. And I think we got 1.5 years to see how we can fulfill some of this requirement.
Representing the Bougainville government, Vice President Patrick Nisera says they remain committed to this process and says reconciliation processes must continue to accompany weapons disposal.
Reconciliation must continue to go hand in hand with weapons, because those who are holding on to weapons at the moment also have issues that outstanding issues that must be dealt with before we deal with those weapons. But let me assure the government of Papua New Guinea, Bougainville remains committed to ridding Bougainville of weapons of war, because it's for the benefit of Bougainvilleans, and we must ensure that we provide an environment that is conducive to conducting a free and fair referendum.
For the former ABG president, who is currently the secretary for the Department of Referendum in the ABG, this milestone provides an opportunity for his department and the task they have before them.
That independent agency will relieve us from dealing with the neutral electoral aspects of the referendum, and then it now frees a part of my staff and resources to focus on weapons disposal and unification that are very important in the outcome of the referendum.
Sarah Aupong, National MTV News.
2 deaths have been reported for Bana district in South Bougainville as a result of the 7.9 earthquake on Sunday afternoon. The 2 women were in their garden when they were buried by a landslip. South Bougainville MP Timothy Masiu confirmed this today, saying reports are still trickling in due to serious communication problems.
2 women, they were buried by the landslip in the mountains of Sikoreba, the Bana district, Bolabe constituency. And those are the first reported fatalities. I'm also getting some reports from Buin that 2 people were also buried alive by landslips up at the mountain areas of Tokaino in the Lule constituency. So that needs to be confirmed. We are waiting for the full report, and I hope the National Emergency and Disaster and Emergency Services send their people down to the ground, on the ground, so that they can confirm some of these reports.
The Waigani National Court has found Micah Bruno, the former General Director of the National Intelligence Organization, guilty of misappropriation. Human Rights Judge Justice David Cannings convicted Bruno after weighing out the evidences presented in court.
The decision was handed down this morning after almost 2 years of a legal battle. The court heard that though the offence occurred in 2013, the matter only came before the Waigani National Court in 2015 after Bruno's successor, Gary Baki, the current police commissioner, reported the matter to the National Fraud and Anti-Corruption Directorate. The former NIO director was charged with 2 counts of misappropriation of state property under the Criminal Code Act. These charges relate to 2 separate checks Bruno raised when he was the Director General in 2013. The checks value at 55,000 kina and 36,000 kina respectively. The Waigani National Court found that Bruno raised the checks after he found that an NEC decision was made to replace him with Gary Baki. A trial was conducted in 2016 after Bruno pleaded not guilty before the Waigani National Court. The court found that the 2 charges were not accounted for and the actions of Bruno were unlawful. Thus, Justice Cannings issued further orders that a pre-sentence report be prepared and submitted to court by February 24th. Bruno has been granted bail after conviction. This matter returns to court in February for submissions on verdict. Tekla Gunga, National MTV News.
In the news ahead, Mount Hagen General Hospital faces water problems and academic doctors stop work plan. Those news and more after the break. Welcome back. The Mount Hagen General Hospital is currently facing water shortage and will only attend to emergency cases. EMTV went to the hospital this morning and witnessed security guards sending patients back home due to no water. This happened after Western Highlands and Jiwaka Province were facing constant power blackout recently. EMTV confirmed with hospital staff that their reserve tank is empty. The hospital is currently trying to get water from Mount Hagen Fire Department to fill up the reserve tank. This will only be used for bathing and laundering because it is not treated for surgical use. Meanwhile, PNG Water Board has run out of fuel from their standby generator. Sources confirm that their standby generator has been overused because of the constant blackout. MTV has contacted PNG Power and is still awaiting for their response. Lecturers at the University of Papua New Guinea's School of Medical and Health Sciences in Port Moresby are planning a stop work. The academic doctors say the national government had failed to pay their salaries according to an agreement they signed in 2016. The stop work commenced yesterday and will continue until the government gives a positive response.
Reasons for the stop work include an outstanding of over 3 million kina owed to the 29 academic doctors for their salaries dating back to January 2014. The stop work means both theory and practical classes at the medical faculty and the Port Moresby General Hospital will be suspended for a week or longer, depending on when a positive response is given by the national government. This afternoon, the academic doctors met with the medical students and explained the reasons for their stop work. Though the stop work is not intended to disrupt classes at the Taroma campus, the students fear they will fall behind their learning schedules.
To show that we play a significant role in the development of this country through health, we have to make some noise, and part of it is that we stop work, meaning that there is to be no teaching happening, no teaching within the school, medical school, and no teaching within the hospital grounds. So all the clinical staff have been informed, all the departments have been informed that any student who goes down to the hospital will not be taught.
The stop work comes 6 months after classes at both UPNG campuses were suspended after the students protested for Prime Minister Peter O'Neill to step down as Prime Minister in 2016. In September 2016, a memorandum of agreement was signed between the Department of Personnel Management and the National Doctors Association. The MOA includes claims made by NDA to improve terms and conditions of doctors in the public sector. However, the academic doctors say while other doctors have received their promises, they are still waiting.
Discussion at that time was about the MOA that was from 2014, start of 2014 to the end of last year, December. But we approached the National Doctors Association as well as the government, the secretary, through letters informing them that we're going to stop work.
The administration of SMHS is aware of the stop work. The medical students are now calling on the government to not only respond positively but quickly. Tekla Gunga, National MTV News.
Electricity company PNG Power Limited has paid over 1.6 million kina to the Papua New Guinea Conservation and Environment Protection Authority. The payment is for outstanding permit fees which accumulated over the past 7 years. With the outstanding charges settled, PNG Power will obtain environmental permits for new power projects this year.
The handover of the payment was done at the PNG Power head office in Port Moresby this morning. CEO of PNG Power Chris Bice said PPL values the work of SIPA in ensuring PNG's natural resources are sustainably managed. He said as an energy utility, PPL has a duty to act in the best interest of the environment where its businesses operate in. The settlement of its dues will now allow PPL to commence its new projects.
For us as an organization, we have a major task with regards to meeting load growth around the country, and by doing that involves a lot of major projects, and which basically touches on environment aspects of the projects, and that's why I mentioned that the cooperation with and support from SIPA is very, very important.
Gunther Joku, Managing Director of SIPA, welcomed the payment and assured PPL of its support. Mr. Joku said such payments make it possible for SIPA to do its work. Mr. Joku also took the opportunity to call on other bodies still owing payments to step up and settle their outstanding fees. Deli Waigeno, National MTV News.
Memorandum of Understanding was signed today between the Investment Promotion Authority and the Madang Provincial Administration. The signing of the MOU is the outcome of IPA's Provincial Outreach Program, which was carried out in 5 provinces last year. These provinces include the Autonomous Region of Bougainville, Milne Bay, Manus, West New Britain and Sundown.
The signing of the Memorandum of Understanding today signifies the establishment of IPA's help desk at the provincial level in Madang.
The need to reach out to other partners and sign up a Memorandum of Understandings or networking arrangements is of utmost importance to the IPA. What we are going to witness today is an outcome of one of our core programs, which is the Provincial Outreach Program.
The help desk will facilitate IPA's activities in close collaboration with the provincial administration to allow for consistency and effective delivery of services to the people.
So what we are doing now from our end is that we are establishing, a partnership, if not cementing a partnership that has always existed, except that we did not take it to the next level. And we'd like to make sure that what IPA PNG is doing, Investment Promotions Authority is doing, can be carried out for and on behalf of Investment Promotions Authority in Meding.
With more economic opportunities seen in the province, this initiative will help both the existing and emerging businesses in the province to work together to achieve sustainable outcomes. Business advisory services plus other training and information will also be provided. Mr. Aloy said the initiative taken will drive the province towards a sustainable development of its provincial economic activities. Medang is the first province to take this initiative provided by IPA.
Congratulations.
Marikauna National, MTV News.
Landowners of Oktedi have become the first resource owners to own a large mandated equity share in any resource project in the country. In a benefit sharing agreement signing, the 6 mine villages, including the 152 villages of the Community Mine Continuation Agreement, will share in a 33% direct equity interest in Oktedi Mining Limited. The other parties to the agreement are the state and the Fly River Provincial Government, who will sign at a later date. The signing took place in Alotau over the weekend.
The benefit-sharing agreement took over 2 years of negotiation amongst landowners, the Fly River Provincial Government and the state. The 33% share equity will see the CMCA communities owning 12%, the 6 mine villages owning 9%, while the Fly River Provincial Government will own the remaining 12% that will be shared with the 3 districts of Western Province. CMCA co-chairman Joel Tangim says the signing of the BSA is a significant milestone for the resource owners of Oktedi.
This signing is a new page that we are turning on, meaning that we, the landowners of CMCA groups, with you, MRDC and OTML, we must all be working together as partners to deliver back to our communities.
MRDC Managing Director Augustine Mano commended the resource owners for working close with MRDC. He said the company has a huge responsibility to manage the interests of the resource owners.
Government sa panim headpen lo talk benefit program masang pulim tajim ko laptan you blah MDs blah goodwill blah work him na. That's why we are here. You know work blah me blah facilitating chief secretary blah facilitating but you blah work him or something easy lo me blah work him. Na me like talk thank you long Musetu long providing this guidance na leadership.
Meanwhile, MRDC Chairman and Chief Secretary Isaac Lupari said the signing is a historical event for the country's resource sector. He says in the past, beneficiary dividends of landowners were not properly managed, and MRDC will now provide the advice in managing landowner benefits.
33% now you blah signing, and by mean also you blah in by direct shareholders. You know, by you blah stabla arare. Before you bless up government you olim share. Now you black some more difference. The government you right, you black some difference. Now you got direct participation, long operation and management belong to you.
Stanley Ove Jr., National, MTV News.
And now looking at our finance news, the kina closed unchanged at $0.3150 in the interbank markets. At Bank South Pacific, your kina was buying $0.3075, $0.4023 Australian dollars, $0.2833 euro, and 34.4 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold, coffee, cocoa, and copra closed the day higher. Palm oil and copper closed higher, while crude oil closed the day lower. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed at 27 points higher, the ASX closed at 43 points higher, and the All Ordinaries closed at 41 points lower. Your Tuesday's news, solar technology gaining traction. That story and more when we come back. Solar system is not new to the country, but it is also not a popular option for many Papua New Guineans. A local company has seen the need to enhance the use of solar energy technology by developing equipment that can be used in the remotest rural areas. Kube Technology offers light, water, food products and medical supplies that has already received interest from local members.
These are the products by Cube Technology built specifically for PNG conditions. Launched yesterday afternoon in Port Moresby, they have a distinctive feature as they are all powered by solar technology. The products are Clinic Cube, a solar vaccine storage, which is the first WHO-rated vaccine fridge solar storage, solar charge stations, solar street lights that come with power poles, 20 watts and 14 watts solar-powered lighting charging systems, and newly developed light sticks. Cube Technology Director Greg Cooper says the goal is to provide the essentials to the remotest regions of the earth, with PNG being the first recipient.
Cube Technology is basically world-first solar technology. We've developed this in America. We've been based here in Papua New Guinea for 5 years. We're a locally registered company now. And what we've set out to do is initially we were the first to develop reverse osmosis, which is the changing of salt water to fresh water purely by solar.
These products are new to the country, with the company operating for only 5 years in PNG. Cooper says they have already been embraced by members of parliament and is expected to be rolled out next week in some districts.
This equipment here is going to the first project. This is going to Mr. Charles Abel's district. He has a village. We're implementing lights, vaccine, cold food storage and charge stations for lighting the huts, etc. And then Mr. Marape is receiving these charge stations here, and that will benefit up to 6,000 people will receive light for the first time because of his initiative. We've also been lucky to have embraced, the Prime Minister has embraced some of these charge stations. Mr. Zemming has embraced some of the water, and Mr. Chichenko has embraced some of the street lights. So
these products are an answer for rural areas which lack access to basic necessities such as clean water, medical supplies and vaccines, electricity and food storage.
One light will just light up a hut. Those small lights, the big ones are designed for hospitals, schools, obviously teaching environments, and or housemen, for example, anything sort of a meeting place. The small lights were designed for specific use for one hut. They can have it on low setting, they can have a high setting if the kids want to read and do homework, and it will last an entire week. So when they go to the gardens, they come, they plug the lights into these charge stations, and then they simply go to the garden. They come back a few hours later, their light is charged for another week.
Cube Technology has developed their equipment in such a way that it is transportable and deployable to all locations. Merlin Diakotam, National EMTV News.
Service delivery must be seen to be reaching the people in rural areas and Central Province. These remarks were made today in the nation's capital by both the Central Province Governor Kila Hauda and Provincial Administrator Gay Raga. They were speaking at the presentation of 5 vehicles to each of the districts of the Central Province to improve service delivery.
The presentation of the vehicles took place at the Central Provincial Government Headquarters at Konedobu in the nation's capital today. In the presence of the province's 5 district CEOs, Governor Kila Hauda said the rural people of Central Province are the focus of the provincial government, and thus the vehicles were given to ensure the people receive better service delivery.
We must not see these vehicles parked under the house, under the tree. They have a purpose, and the purpose is to deliver to our people. We sit in the office and we want to know what is happening to our vehicles. What are they doing? Every time you blame us, blame the administration, the provincial administrator, we have no vehicle, we're sitting around. Now we give you the vehicle, you have no excuse. Go to our people, meet our people and deliver the service that they want.
Provincial Administrator Gay Raga said the vehicles are to be used by extension officers in the respective districts to do their work efficiently.
There is a lot of money coming from DSIPs and also from the PSIPs. There is no reports of extension officers telling us how many of these programs that we have initiated or implemented in the districts have been followed up or have been supervised, have been monitored. In Central Province, we want to change the business of service delivery. That's the very reason why we have those 5 vehicles there. Those vehicles are purely for making sure that extension services in the districts are carried out.
The vehicles were dedicated with a prayer of blessing, and the keys were presented to the respective CEOs of the Rigo, Abao, Kairuku, Hiri and Goilala districts. The 5 Toyota Hilux vehicles cost over 600,000 kina in total, with the funding sourced from provincial grants. Provincial Administrator Gay Raga warned that the vehicles were to be used strictly for business purposes and only within business hours. Any breach of this instruction will invite consequences. Deli Waigeno, National, MTV News.
The PNG Coffee Industry Corporation believes the industry is able to generate more than 600 million kina into the PNG economy if the government can subsidize some of the cost involved for coffee farmers. Coffee is an exportable commodity. Last year, the industry was able to bring in almost 506 million kina into the PNG economy through foreign reserves. CEO Charles Dembui says this only includes coffee bags that make it to the coffee trading depot. However, more can be generated as more coffee is still sitting in the rural areas. This is due to 2 factors, the high freight cost and there were no storage facilities. Most of the coffee bags in the rural interior can only be freighted into the trading depot by air due to infrastructure and the transportation cost.
We believe that we can generate over 600 million kina for the last year 2016 coffee crop. Just that most of the coffee did not make it to the market, and this is the opportunity that we see that if government can also not necessarily fund the road infrastructure but also improve the airstrips as well as the subsidize some of the costs, freight costs, especially for those farmers transporting their coffee via third-level airlines. We want the government to at least subsidize some of the costs, either by fuel or fares.
The official launching of standards-based curriculum materials will be conducted tomorrow in Port Moresby by Education Minister Nick Kuman and Department Secretary Dr. Uke Kombra. The Assistant Secretary for Curriculum Development Division, Stephen Tandale, said elementary teachers will receive the materials after the launching with a full implementation of the curriculum this year. After attending the SBC training last year in June, elementary teachers from the 9 districts in Morbe said the content of SBC is appealing. However, they did not receive the materials on time. The SBC teaching materials include syllabus and teacher's guide for the 4 subjects: maths, language, English and community and culture. Police officers of the Bougainville Police Service have raised concerns on the use of sign language when it comes to dealing with juvenile cases, and they want sign language be included as part of police recruitment training program. An appeal is for the government to adequately provide funding to support state institutions to properly train their officers. Fabian Hakalets files this report from Buka.
Senior Constable Joyce Chera is the officer in charge of the Family Sexual Violence Unit in the autonomous region of Bougainville, attending the juvenile justice training.
On sign language, and I see that all policemen and women must be trained on sign language, because now victims, we see that most victims person with special needs, when they come into conflict with the law, it will be very difficult for us to communicate.
With sign language, this will make communication more easier, so cases involving juveniles can be properly handled.
Training that we're going through now, juvenile police training, it's really helping us how to deal with victims, child victim and witnesses. So I think we are fortunate to have the training, and I believe more training on that must be conducted here in Bougainville so that all policemen and women know how to deal with juveniles when they come into conflict with the law.
Officer in charge of the Sexual Offence Squad, Fiona Kakarere, speaking during the training, pointed out juvenile cases dealing with children with special needs have remained a challenge, and police need more training to upskill them to handle juveniles, especially children with special needs. Now, the challenge remains whenever it comes to cases involving children with special needs, and the high consequences of cases being dismissed by the courts due to lack of evidence and due processes not being followed. The onus is now on police officers to ensure justice prevails and that perpetrators are brought to police. This call was made by members of the Bougainville Police Service for a sign language program be incorporated into the recruit police program at the Bomana Police Training College in Port Moresby. And Community Policing Director Superintendent John Colopan says he will bring this forward to the police hierarchy. In Buka, Fabian Hakelitz, National EMTV News.
You're with the news. Chukai Sports is coming up next. We'll have PNG Football, Rugby Sevens and the PNG Puk-Puks with Daniel Look. Stay tuned.
Chukai Sports.
Welcome to Chukai Sports. PNG senior men's coach Flamin Seretslev has returned to Papua New Guinea, looking ready to kickstart PNG's preparation for the 2018 FIFA World Cup Russia qualifiers. With the kickoff for the first match a month away, Coach Seretslev wants his players to get the little things right and understand their role in the game.
The men's national team will host Tahiti in the first match on March 23rd in Port Moresby. Coach Flamin Seretslev knows that facing Tahiti will be tough and has exploited a couple more players to the squad in the likes of Samuel Kini, Emmanuel Arem, Greg Togubai, Sammy Campbell, Stal Gubag and Kolu Kapo. Seretslev is optimistic of his new inclusions, saying it's an opportunity for the players to prove themselves worthy of putting on the national colours. 2 under-20 players have also included in the mix. Stal Gubag and Greg Togubai were recommended by Coach Seretslev after sporting them during the OFC Under-20 Championships in Vanuatu last year. However, both players will be under Seretslev watch, and how they perform against top senior players, like everyone else, will get a chance to play for the country in the future. All players are expected to be in Port Moresby by tomorrow, Wednesday 25th January, for the first 2-week camp. Due to the FIFA window period, the first camp is only for homebound players and does not include overseas-based players. The second camp will be at the end of February, where the team will be finalized. PNG is pooled in Group B alongside heavyweights Solomon Islands and Tahiti. The winner of this qualifier will take on 5th-ranked side from CONMEBOL, South America, for a place in the 2018 FIFA World Cup Russia.
Chance for Fossey's round Mango. Goal for Papua New Guinea. 38
Shane Saroya, National EMTV Sports.
The Papua New Guinea Puk-Puk Sevens team will compete in this weekend's HSBC 7 Series in Wellington, New Zealand. They have been placed in the Pool A with England, Argentina and Kenya.
The Puk-Puks qualified for the HSBC World Rugby 7 Series after a 4th place finish at the Oceania Sevens in Fiji in November. This is their first big test for 2017. Winning a pool match in Wellington would be a success for the team. The Puk-Puks will travel to New Zealand knowing they have what it takes to play against the best.
Stunning try.
After Wellington, the Puk-Puks will turn their attention to the Sydney round of the HSBC World Rugby 7 Series, which will run from February 4th to the 5th. They will be using the Wellington and Sydney Sevens fixtures as a lead-up to Hong Kong. The Puk-Puks' goal will be to qualify for the HSBC World Rugby 7 Series in 2017-2018. The team consists of 12 players. Henry Kalua and Willie Tirang have been named after putting on an outstanding performance in Fiji. Adding experience to the team would be Manu Gais, Max Valley, Wesley Vani, Dean Manale and Arthur Clement. The tournament runs for 2 days and kicks off on the 28th with PNG to face England in the first match. Elijah Levet, National EMTV Sports.
Still on Rugby Union, the unveiling of the new jersey for the HSBC 7 Series yesterday by President Stephen Kami was to make Team PNG stand out during the tournament. He said the colours of the jersey were chosen to depict the colours of the Bird of Paradise as they make their entrance in New Zealand, Australia and Hong Kong. Marked on the jerseys was the logo of MRDC as the team's major sponsor.
Yeah. So that's the new look jersey that we're going to use. We want to look like a bird of paradise, which is part of the culture of Papua New Guinea. We don't want to be hidden in black. We want us to be spotted from many miles around. So if you're in Hong Kong or in Wellington or Sydney, this is the new jersey. And and the new polo which I'm wearing. So I'll have our captain stand up, and that's what it looks like. Yeah. We will have it available for those who are going to support in Hong Kong, Wellington and Sydney at a later stage.
And back to football, the under-17 side left for New Zealand yesterday to kickstart their under-17 OFC Championship qualifiers campaign. Upon arriving in New Zealand, Papua New Guinea and Fiji played an entertaining match at Mount Smart the same afternoon, but couldn't be separated after 90 minutes with the score locked at 0-0.
This young and experienced group of players were eagerly waiting for their first overseas tour yesterday at the Jackson's International Airport before departure. Coach Harrison Kamake, who's quite confident with his team, said his side has a good mix of local players.
We had 2.5 months of training in Leh, preparation. Generally, the preparation has gone well with the boys. We've focused our training on team structure. Basically, we've been doing that, and I'm happy with the preparation so far.
The team has gone through vigorous training camps for over 2.5 months, with the squad comprising local-based players.
All new boys, inexperienced, but they have what it is to go into tournaments. Games, obviously, under-17 tournament is one of those.
In the squad is young midfielder Ricky Clyde Waduna, who feels confident about his team and believes the squad gelled well together.
Yes, me connect well on the middle staff good. Interact on them that good. The staff prepare well. Big confident the boys me can produce some strong produce some result.
Having said that, Ricky and his team arrived in Auckland, New Zealand at 2:30 this morning and took on Fiji, in which the match ended in a 0-0 draw. Coach Kamake said despite being unable to find the back of the net in this occasion, the two sides are in Auckland, New Zealand preparing for the regional competition, which gets underway on 11 February in Tahiti. Shane Soroya, National EMTV Sports.
You're with Chukai Sports. More stories after the break. Stay tuned.
Chukai Sports.
Welcome back to Chukai Sports. After months of training hard in a backyard and preparations for the pro boxing tournament to take place on the 29th of this month, organizers have only 4 days to get all necessities done. The fight will see a total of 12 professional fighters exchange fists in the ring with a total of 6 bouts. Organizers say the one-day event is specifically hosted to promote professional boxing in the country. Godin Eki reports.
With 4 days to the one-day pro boxing event on the 29th of this month, New Guinea Professional Boxing Association has been busy with its fighters' training. The one-day event is to promote not just the code of boxing, but pro boxing, as the young and upcoming boxers will one day look into professional boxing and to make a name for themselves. The event that is set to see 12 professional fighters step into the ring on the day will fight against each other in their respective category with a total of 6 bouts. Many of these fighters started as amateur fighters before making their way up to professional boxing. While the event is organized to promote pro boxing in the country, New Guinea Professional Boxing Association is hoping that government and private sectors will recognize the interest of pro boxing and that the federation can also lend a helping hand in promoting pro boxing in the country. Tickets for the event can be purchased at main shopping centers or bought pre-sold at 10 kina and 15 kina at the gate, while tables during the event are going for 500. The one-day event is on the 29th of January and taking place at Sports Scene Club. The event will be a lead-up to the 2017 season of events, which will follow later in the year. Godwin Eki, National EMTV Sports.
And that's a wrap on Chukai Sports. I'll have your weather details after the break.
Chukai Sports. Chukai Sports.
The weather details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield. Worth doing with Dulux.
Looking at the weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow in the southern region only, thundery showers in Port Moresby, showers and thunderstorms in Daru and Popondetta, rain showers in Kerema, and rain showers and thunderstorms in Alotau.
The weather details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield. Worth doing with Dulux.
That's been the news, sports and weather for Tuesday, January 24th, 2017. On behalf of the entire news crew, pleasant viewing. Good night.